Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the Story Darlings podcast. I'm your host, Sandra.
And I'm Tara.
And what do we have going on today, Tara?
And today we are celebrating the International Author Day. And we have a very special guest, a children's author, Nonku Adumetey. Welcome.
Hey. Well, thank you for having me. Hi, everyone. My name is Nonku, and I'll just introduce myself right now, and then we can just jump into things. I'm a mom of two. I'm a children's book author. I'm a healthcare professional, and I do a lot of things. I wear a lot of hats, but I honestly am learning to love and embrace who I am, and that's why I write.
I love that. Yeah. Nonku is pretty much a powerhouse of things. I feel like she just does everything, and she always is smiling and dancing and has so much energy when you see her on screen. So it's just like, I don't know how you do it all, Nonku.
Yeah, I don't know how to do it all. It's like mostly support, and honestly, it's just finding energy, and dancing does actually energize me. So if I do it, I kind of get my energy back. So yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say, how have you guys been?
Yeah, so little context here. We all three, at some point, we attended Westminster College in Fulton, Missouri. So that's kind of where we all went to undergrads. And it's been many years. I'm kind of embarrassed to say how long it's been. And now we're in this season of life where we're all, parents, and it's so cool to see each other's face on here.
That's amazing. It's a long time back. I was talking to somebody like how college, we were still finding ourselves. And, I feel like there's always a journey. And yeah, it's been crazy. But I am doing great. I'm exhausted right now because I've been like really surviving on 3 or less hours of sleep each night. And so I am ready to like sleep 10 hours if I can tonight. That will be amazing.
Yeah, if those boys will let you. Yeah.
Right.
I will cross my fingers for you.
Nonku, you mentioned you were a healthcare professional, but I know that you have earlier this year, was it earlier this year or maybe the end of last year, you released your first children's book, I Celebrate My Skin, which I love that story. That your book is still in Vincent and my regular nightly book rotation. So it makes its rounds every like couple weeks. It's read at bedtime. So we love that story. But so how did you get into children's book writing? When did you figure out that that's something that you were passionate about and wanted to do?
I know. Honestly, it was like an accidental thing. I never thought I will be a writer. I mean, I've always enjoyed reading. I always enjoyed being inspired. But the way it came about, it was just very interesting. It was honestly through pain, which is very strange, right? 2017, I was a first-time mom. In 6 months, when my son was 6 months, I lost my father. And it was like one of the hardest things I went through, honestly. Actually, it was October 12th. And so October 12th was a very weird day for me during the campaign as well. So October 12th, 2017, my father passed away, and I found myself in just a lot of emotions, right? Roller coaster. I was very sad, and I went through childhood trauma, as a child. And so, I just growing up, I never really addressed that pain too, right? It just kind of was okay, and I just pushed on my books, because I knew I wanted to get out of poverty. I wanted to be out there and, travel around the world and like help my family out of poverty and make a change in my community. So I just like focused. I never dealt with my trauma as a child or never talked about it. And I just focused on coming out of that pain, right? And doing something more with my life. And it wasn't until, 2017 when my father passed away, it was just like everything came back. Like I'm just dealing with that grief, losing him, and then like the trauma thing. I was just angry, and I was so dark. I just couldn't recognize who I was, and I had a 6-month child just breastfeeding, who I'm taking care of in every level, and I just could not be. And so writing saved me. I just somehow I went to this weekend retreat thing. Thankfully, Reggie was amazing, like, took care of the kid and everything. I took like a weekend retreat, like a self-help thing, like to just deal with the grief. But then actually it uncovered all this trauma. And then I found myself sharing for the first time to strangers about this trauma, what it means, and how much it seemed to have impacted me. I didn't realize until at that moment. And so everything just came back and I just had to let it out. And so I just started writing. I remember I wrote for like, I just kept writing. I just kept writing. And then I started like thinking about the messages I want to have for my children and for all children out there. And then that's how I got into children's books. I wanted to, as part of the healing journey, it's like a message for myself too, right? I am celebrating my skin. For the first time in 20 plus years, I can finally say I celebrate who I am just the way I am. So it was just like a message for myself, but also for like children out there to embrace their stories. And now we have a second book coming up. We have more books in the pipeline, but they're all about celebrating ourselves because we matter just the way we are. And sometimes we go through things that take away that right from us. And it's very important to heal and learn that, because that's when you do your purpose, when you actually finally accept and embrace yourself. And so, yeah, I can go on and on. So I should stop.
No, this is great. This is why you're here.
I really love that sentiment of like, finding yourself, loving yourself. Because I know Sandra and I have talked in a previous episode about how we are learning still to love ourselves and to be comfortable with ourselves. And so I love the sentiment to help children do that, not grow up into their 30s and then be finding that love and acceptance of ourselves. So I love it.
Thank you guys. Yeah.
So looking through your first book, like you can see the artwork with your children, in it. So I love seeing how you included them in there. So when you're writing these stories, do you include, your son's take and like getting his take on like what the story should be or what he thinks of it? Like how do you bounce ideas with
I
your
know.
small ones?
Yeah. So like for these ones, actually, I created the titles and everything during this process, right? Because then I just like was going through this brain situation of like, I had all these different ideas. So like actually I wrote everything on my iPhone. I have notes and I was just laying on my bed. I remember the first story when I actually wrote I Celebrate My Skin. My son, I was just like helping him take a nap. I was like literally next to him. And all of a sudden I just like stood up and I was like, oh my God. And then I just grabbed my phone and I just started writing. And then I came out of here screaming, telling Reggie, like, I just finished my first draft. Like, like I just went like bananas and just like wrote it. I know I didn't get much input from my children at that time, but like now, oh my goodness, they like loving this journey. Like Liam is always telling stories about, actually he's telling me that the next book should be about celebrating myself, which is amazing because that is going to be the next book. And like they're inspiring that journey right now. And like he was telling me about, yeah, we could do celebrating Halloween, celebrating Christmas. Like he's already having all these ideas and telling me
I
all
love that.
okay.
Yeah.
So he's becoming such a big, a big storyteller, but definitely a big impact in this, in this like, I probably should like include him as an author in some of the future books because he is definitely, he's enjoying it, but he definitely has a lot to say about these books and then share his voice, so I think all kind of works together. So yeah, we'll see how that goes for future books.
I love it. Yeah. I'm trying to think if like Vincent would ever sit down for 5 seconds and have the attention span to like do something like this with. And I'm just like, nah, I don't think he would right now. But yeah, the story time, it's great that you can read the stories and they're just like so into it and learning already. It's like some of the experiences that I had living in this area early 90s, because I'm half Asian and my mom, she was a first generation immigrant to the States. And it's just like it was a completely different world up in this area at that time, even for like, me. And I just wish that I had some things to point to and some earlier experiences that were more positive in that sense, you know, to feel more included and stuff in the community. And yeah, I love the message that you're sharing in your book so much. It's so so important for children to grow up that way and just how they treat each other as human beings, you know?
Yeah.
Especially, it's so important, especially today. I just feel like there's so much stuff just in this society, not just this country, but around the world. It's just it's heartbreaking to see the different struggles.
I know. I know. I mean, like the positive on that is that at least we are talking about it, we are addressing it.
Hmm.
We are thinking about making a change because that's the beauty of it. I think the hardest thing, I think is like not talking,
I know.
like just not talking about it, keeping silent. And, like that's the hardest thing, I think, because imagine you have like this burden to carry, like you're carrying something in your heart
Well,
for 20 years,
yeah, you
right?
carried
Like
this burden,
for
and how
yes,
hard was that your whole life? Yeah.
over 20 years, I'm like just now like dealing and addressing it. And I'm not the only one. Like I spoke to others and like, when I started sharing my story, the first time I shared it publicly actually was on Clubhouse. I was in this room and somebody, and I love this room actually. I love, like this room. It's like a sisterhood of influential entrepreneurs. And Zavara Dover, like she like does all this, rooms where she like women just come and talk about their experiences and their story. And I don't know, somehow, and they used to like in the beginning, they used to go like sometimes like till 4 or 5 a.m. because every person was sharing their story. It was like an amazing, just open space for everybody. And I remember like, I don't know, somebody shared about something. And I found myself compelled to share about my story. And then I just started talking and I just like sharing about how everything went. I mean, when I think about it, like I was 7 years old when it started, and it was like year after year going through this trauma, repeating it, seeing these people who are like traumatized, like who are like every single day for like 5, 6, 7 years, seeing this person every day, having to pretend and like, right, like it's just like really shapes how you see your view and how I don't know, it just, you know, when I think about it now, like every day, 365 days times 5, 6, I'm seeing these people every single day in my life. I have to interact with them. And I still go through the trauma again and again. Like, it's a lot. And then to keep that for so many years, it's like, it's so heavy. It's of course it
Mm.
affects you. It affects your relationship. It affects everything about
Oh yeah.
how you see different things, right? How you even view yourself. Like, right, I think about some self-sabotaging behaviors that I did, and I'm like, like everything just makes sense, right? After a while, because you're young, you don't understand it, and you're just trying to deal, but you're not sure what is the best way to deal with it. But anyway, I don't want to like dwell too much on this, but it's like keeping something in your heart for so long is like becomes such a norm sometimes. Suffering, pain, and whatever people go through, it's just such easier. It's just easier to not talk about it. But actually, that's the opposite, because by not sharing your story, you don't know who you're not inspiring. You don't know who you're not encouraging. You
Exactly.
you don't know but for you too, like you don't understand how freeing it is to be free from all of it and just like talk about it. And so, anyways, I was in this room. I started talking and I shared my story. I mean, I swear, like 10 or more women came up that same night, that same day, sharing they went through similar things. And they talked, like everybody just started talking about their experiences, like how, I mean, it just dawned on me, like, oh my goodness, like, so here I am, not sharing my story. How many children back home that are going through sexual trauma, assault, whatever you may call it. And my fear of not sharing my story is giving them even more fear of not speaking up. I could change their narrative of not waiting 20 years. They could wait an hour, a day, a minute, and speak up, which is why my second book is so important, right? I'm teaching children to speak up, to have the courage to speak up, because they have a voice and they should use their voice for whatever that it might be. So yeah, you know, yeah, it's a lot, but yeah, it's a journey. It's a journey. Healing. I am grateful for it because I can be free finally. I wrote letters, to all the people who sexually assaulted me, and I actually confronted them. I talked to them on the phone, and I said, I'm not going to be afraid anymore. I am not going to stop talking. I am not going to not say anything. That time is over. Like my silence is no longer golden,
Yeah.
And just being able to do that, I got my power back, and I just felt like now I'm just me. This is me. And
Noku, you're making me cry. Like I'm trying not to sob here, but like your
oh,
story is just so inspiring, and like you have so much strength and power in you, and like
yeah,
just talking to you, like there is a light about you, and you just give off like this inspiration and like so much kindness and love and gratitude despite all of your life experiences. And I'm in total awe right now. I don't even know what to say.
oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. It is too.
I also just love that you're changing your life, you're changing those people that you don't know, giving children a voice, but what you're doing for your kids too is remarkable. Like you're giving them the role model that it sounds like, I don't know everything, but it sounds like you didn't have growing up. You're giving them that person that will stand up for them, will make sure that they have a voice. And it's just, sorry, now I'm about to start crying, but like it's just so, I don't know. It's such a great story.
Oh, thank you guys. Thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you sharing that. I want them to, I want them to leave, of course I want them to have experiences and go through things, but the one thing that I don't want them to go through is not understanding who they are, their purpose, and their contribution in this world, and I want them every day when you go in the car, go to school, we do affirmations, and I tell them they are powerful beyond measure. They should celebrate their voice, and even my daughter, she's 2, and she can say, I celebrate my skin. It is beautiful just the way it is. And this is 2 years old, and I want them from that early age to know and embrace who they are and be okay with that, and so that when anything comes their way, they know they have years of knowing who they are, what's their story, what's their voice, and they know that. And so even though things might come and want to shake them, whatever experiences that come their way, they know, right? They are filled with that affirmation about who they are and what's their purpose in this world. And that is my hope, and it's not just for my children, it's for all children, like my nieces, my nephews, the children back home. That's why this donation is even more important, the book donations that I'm doing, because I want these kids in the villages that I grew up in, like right in the rural area where there's nothing at all but just gravel roads, dust, like trees and beautiful fruits and everything. I want them to know my story. I want them to know that I grew up in those areas and somebody amplified my voice. And by donating this book to them, I am amplifying their voice to let them know that they matter. They can change the narratives of their lives, and this is not it for them. And that's my mission. And the more and more I do this, guys, it's like I meant to do this. Like I want to do this, and it's like it's just so inspiring and it's so energizing, and the possibilities, like I don't sleep because I also, like, I'm thinking about different things, I'm thinking about ideas, and yeah, it's a lot of work, but that's it for me. And I just, yeah, I want to do it. I'm doing it.
It's meaningful work. You have your mission. You're a woman on a mission. I love it. So let's talk about the Kickstarter campaign. So you have
Yes.
this Kickstarter campaign, and can you tell us a little bit about, what that entails and what
Yeah,
your, different
you
goals
know
are
I'm like
for
all
that
over.
campaign? Yeah.
Yeah, we're all having to fix our
I know,
makeup.
we're
I'm
like-
glad that I didn't put too much on today.
Yeah, so Kickstarter campaign. I didn't even know anything about Kickstarter honestly until I was a new author. Like I have a very I am a very spontaneous person. If I believe in something and I want to do it, I just do it. So that's how I jump into publishing. Honestly, my first book, I just decided, and I've had it, kept in, like I wrote in 2017, right? But I kept it for so long. And then 2020, with everything going on, I was like, I have this book that can help with our social injustice, everybody not feeling heard, I have a book. I'm gonna put it out there. And then I literally had a crash course about publishing, what I need to learn, how to, I made so many mistakes, which of course I appreciate because I learned a lot from them. But I just decided, I'm gonna do it. I had an illustrator. I had to find somebody, and I hired editors, um, from all over the world because I wanted different inputs into the story. So I had somebody from home, of course, but I had somebody from Asia, from Europe. I had different voices actually contributing the editing process as well because I wanted to see how different religions, and I wanted to see how they actually take this message. What is their viewpoint? Like, what are they thinking about it? And then the editing process actually went well. I think I was able to really get the book to where I needed to be. Illustration, I found the right person and I love her. She's illustrating my second book as well. I work with her and, she's in India. And I think what I liked about it is because for my first book, I wanted to show the beauty of Africa. Like I wanted to show the beauty of my country. And so I wanted, even though we're talking about celebrating our voices, who we are, I wanted to show children playing and enjoying themselves in a natural environment, but very similar to home. Like I wanted to tease out some stories about my country as well. And so I wanted somebody who understands third world countries. When I say, I swim in a river, I want a kid swimming in the river. They know exactly, they have an idea. Like I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, right. So I wanted somebody who can understand humble beginnings, who can really relate, to where I am, like what I'm experiencing and stuff like that. So it was amazing. We had a good connection and I just went with her and she delivered, I think, in everything. Like, I just think it just helps. Like now it's very easy because it's honestly, when the illustrations come back, it's only a few things. I'm okay, maybe we could just add, I don't know, a helmet or something, very simple things, but it's not big changes. And so it's amazing. But I'm kind of giving backstories with every question I have.
I love it. I love backstory.
Coming back to closer to Kickstarter. So I didn't even know about Kickstarter. This is 2020 November. I launched my first book. No marketing, no website, nothing. I just said, boom, I just published my book. Come by, and I was trying to promote and do it. And I did well. I think I did all the visits. I mean, I started kind of learning more about the industry and how to connect. And I kept seeing people. I think at that time there was a lady who just said she's doing a Kickstarter. I was I kept seeing something about Kickstarter. So I was like, I just started learning a little bit more about it. Honestly, I want to say around April, May. That's when I actually learned about what Kickstarter was. This year. And I was like, actually, because the cost of publishing a book is a lot, right? I was like, you know what? I have a book coming up in November, December timeline. I should do a Kickstarter too. I don't know exactly what and how that would tell, but I'm going to do a Kickstarter. Okay. So then I started learning, wrapping myself very quickly to understand all that it takes. And then I started joining groups, right? Kickstarter groups, and just learning, really seeing how people are doing everything. And then, that was it. And so I decided, because for my mission, honestly, it's, of course, I want to write books. I want to sell a lot of books. I want to be a bestseller. I want to do all those things, those are always nice to have. But my biggest mission with my books, honestly, is I just need to spread the message. I need to share the story. I want children to be comfortable with their stories, regardless of what they have and what they don't have. And so I was like, I should use Kickstarter to really open up an avenue to have more donations, like books, because I do try and do donations outside, of Kickstarter in my website, which was able to donate a lot. I just wanted to give. I was just giving. Some of the books I was just giving because I just want the children to have the books. And of course, it's not fiscally wise, but but I just wanted to do it. And so I was like, okay, I could do Kickstarter. People can actually donate into that cause. And so everything, like the cost of the book, the cost of the shipping is not 100% from me. It's like coming from people who want to also support and believe in this mission. So Kickstarter came about, and I thought about organizations. I was already working with two of them, right? Heart for Africa, which is mostly doing a lot of work in Swaziland. They have like this Project Canaan. I connected with a lady named Amber from Amber Rose, I believe. Is it Amber Rose? Is that Amber Rose? No, it's Amber. I don't know if you
We
like it.
can, yeah, we can confirm it and put it in the show notes. Yeah.
Thank you. So Amber, I met with her, and she does a lot of like good work at home through Project Canaan, and they help young children. There's an orphanage, because we have HIV, which is why actually I wanted to be in health, right? Because I have family members who died of HIV/AIDS, and so it's like a big part of me. Like, and when I say those things, I'm going to share another story later, but I know I want to bring it now because there's just so many things, but I have family members who died of HIV/AIDS and all of those things. And so for me, being in healthcare, I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to like have a hospital back home. I wanted to like make a change in those problems, right? But there's so much more. So there's so many children orphaned by HIV/AIDS. It's like so many childhood household in homes in the country. I mean, it's crazy. Like the prevalence it's crazy. I mean, it's just like over 50%. It's a lot of children who are like just struggling. They don't have anybody. So Project Canaan does some programs. They have like a home. Actually, I donated my first books in July to them, and they haven't received them yet. I'm waiting. But like they're doing all these things just to like provide that hope for children. And so Kickstarter, I definitely want to work with them, right? Because I want to continue donating books home through this program. And so like I found that organization. I reached out to Books for Africa as well, because I know they have an infrastructure to send books across Africa, not just my country, all around Africa, right? To different villages, because a book is like, growing up in the circumstances I grew up in, it's like, you don't even think about it. Like, it's not even a thing in your mind, like, right, that I don't even have a book. Like, I don't even know what I'm missing. I don't even know what I'm not even thinking about it, right? It's just like
You have
something.
other worries. Yeah. You have other problems, other worries. Yeah.
It's just not a thing. And so I know there's so many children, so many children across Africa who are probably in the same situation. That's why we have organizations like Books for Africa who are sending books across as well. So I wanted to have some of the books, of course, donated to that cause. And then Bob Hansen has Humanitarian for Children. He's done a lot of work. I've seen his work in Kenya, Rwanda, building homes, building schools, water, clean water, like just the basic needs. And he's been doing a lot of amazing work on that. So I definitely wanted to partner with his mission and send some books there as well. And of course, I'm in Chicago in healthcare. I wanted to add hospitals. So I work for Northwestern Medicine. And so Lori Children's Hospital was just like another natural organization that I want to partner with, because my father was sick a lot. So we were in the hospital a lot, during holidays. And I can't imagine being a child in a hospital, right? And so I wanted to be there to provide, I don't know, support, positive light, celebration of voices for those children, regardless of what they're, going through, and so that's the mission. And so I was like, okay, for organizations, we'll do this Kickstarter and we'll have options for people to donate, to like these buckets. And now we have over 150 books so far donated. And, it's like just amazing, and with this Kickstarter, I learned a lot. It was very exhausting, honestly.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
I was posting every day. I was sending messages. I was, it's a different perspective to be out there, to put yourself out there, but at the end of the day, I believe in the mission and I believe what this is doing. And I know like it might be annoying for other people and it might be right in their faces about different things, but this is it. I think this is how we make a change. I think change sometimes comes with friction, annoyance, a lot of things that comes with change, but then we celebrate it afterwards together. And so that's the goal of the Kickstarter. That's why I did it. And so here we are, less than 24 hours away to the campaign ending. And yeah, we've raised 6,370 the last time I checked. And those are pre-orders, those are book donations, and those yeah, it's just amazing. I have no idea how. Yeah, yeah, it's crazy.
With yeah, with all of the supply chain problems that COVID has caused over the last going on almost 2 years now, and just the printing cost of a children's book because it's full color, it's hardcover too. I know how expensive that could be. So I
Yeah,
think you have done such a good job. You're not annoying at all, like getting out there and spreading the word, and you're so passionate and like your authenticity and your mission focus. That's what always comes across to me anytime I see you anywhere on social media, like speaking this message. It's always really heartfelt and comes from a sincere place. And I'm I'm so excited for you, Nonku. So when is the official date? You've mentioned November for I
yes.
celebrate my voice.
I celebrate my voice. Honestly, it's gonna be end of November. The date when I was wanted to launch it was 12/1, but I'm just keeping it December now because again, like with COVID, everything, you just never know. I am gonna be sending this out to the printer, in literally within a week and a half or so. And so hopefully that's gonna give us enough time to like get a few copies that's gonna be distributed and kind of be sold through Christmas while I get the big shipment coming in through sea. Like probably it's going to come later, but at least I'll have like a chunk of books that will come through DHL or something like that. So, I want to say early December. I don't want to put a date because like it's just, right now it's like, a little, definitely before Christmas, the books will be out. But, I definitely want to make sure that, I have everything kind of finalized. But yes, the plan is everything's still going very well. Illustrations, pushing everything out. So definitely by Christmas, early December is my goal. And then we'll see. I mean, like distributing and shipping them. So we'll see. Kind of.
I wanted to agree with Sandra. I wholeheartedly do not think you're annoying when you're spreading everything. So
Never.
no,
No.
you know, I want to point that out, but I also want to point out, even if it was, you made a great point of that's how we create change. And in any great change in the world, there has been discomfort. There has been people on the other side having to learn why the change is needed.
Mhm.
Um, and so even if there was, like, I don't know, I want to coin your phrase, like celebrate you, celebrate your skin, your voice,
Yeah.
because even if there is discomfort on somebody else's side, maybe they need that discomfort.
Yeah.
Maybe they need that to change what they're doing or to see why that change is necessary. So just wanted to throw my 2 cents in there.
Yeah, exactly.
That was amazing. That was appropriate. That was like
Yeah.
perfectly well said. Honestly, I appreciate it. And yeah, it's through discomfort, it's through pain. It's like we don't grow like even just growing, like, right, like think about a child growing. It's just down, like, right, it just comes with pain and stretches, right, everything. Like, growth in any way comes with some discomfort or whatever we want to call it, and that's how we learn and become better. And so it should be a welcome thing, but we humans, and that's not always we want
we,
to keep.
we
Mhm.
we want to avoid that at all costs as
Yes.
humans. And sometimes, like you said, you need
Yeah.
that in order to.
Yeah, it's easy to like do it that way, but end of the day, I think it's needed. It's needed, and I am pushing through it, guys. And I don't know what the future holds. I just know that it's gonna be great. This is it, right? Like, you out there now. You've shared your story. I mean, like, you're out there. I'm out there, and this is it. And the only thing I can do is just push through and push through and push through,
Keep
and
going. Yeah.
that's it. Like, that's all. And so
There's no turning around now. Keep
You've
going.
come too
Yep.
far.
Yep. Keep going. I love how end to end you made this process just so like diverse, like so beautifully diverse and inclusive with just the graphic artist and everyone, the illustrator that you did for like everything. Every little step you put so much thought into making it really representative of all different cultures all around the world. That's like one of my favorite things to talk about when I'm in bed with Vincent, because he'll be asking me questions about the environment in the book and, why are they like, what is this, the dress that they wear? Because the children wear different dress from different countries around the world. And so he's always asking those questions. And I love it. Like you did such a great job, Nonku.
I'm getting chill.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love, Sandra, what you just said, because I mean, my kids don't have a whole lot of experience with other cultures. You know, I you have the Asian side where your half of your family is Asian, so there's another culture for your kid, but mine don't have that experience. So I love getting to share a positive, getting to share that with them, showing them what other people's cultures are and the joys that come out of those differences, and seeing, again, sharing your voice. Like there's nobody that is the same as you. You have similar experiences, but there is nobody the same as you. And I also like to use that as a lesson to my kids. Like, you know, be kind to everybody around you. You don't know what they're going through. You don't know what their culture is. You don't know where they're coming from. But you know where you're coming from, and that should always be kindness and caring and compassion for everybody around you. So I love that too, because there are some children that just don't see that. And that's going to be their way of hearing other voices.
It's actually, yeah, it's teaching empathy at a young age, right? We want our children to be able to to have empathy, like, to come from a place of empathy. We're just now talking about empathy as adults,
Mhm.
communicating with empathy is like a buzz thing right now, right? But it's something that should start early on, right?
Yes, and we lose it somewhere along the way. We're told to, suppress that and, we can't, we have a face that we put on to, in the corporate world, wherever we are. So, yeah, it's so important.
Yeah,
It's
I
so
forgot about,
sad.
I know, I forgot the story I was gonna share. My brain is always thinking about different things. In my head, what is the story? What is the story? I can't think of it. Oh my goodness, I don't even know. Like, I'm always thinking about so many things, and so I guess that'll be for next time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Book 3.
3, 4, 5. Yeah, I guess I'll take a break though. I'm thinking next 2022. I might not publish. I mean, I might publish, like, I want to do bilingual languages, like for this book, right? So I'm going
Mm.
to focus on getting Spanish, my language, Swati, Zulu, get more languages out with these books that I have. And so I'll focus on those things, and then kind of slowly work on book 3, right, next
Yeah.
year. So that then the next year, then we'll release it with some time. So that's the plan, so it's just, because it's been a lot, like, right, working full time. I'm
Yes.
still working full time. I mean, so, I have no
Yeah.
choice but to stay up late to like do writing, because I'm not able to do anything during the day. So it's an
Yeah.
experience, honestly, but it's an amazing experience, and I'm learning, I'm growing, and it's
I
inspiring.
love it. Yeah. So tell in the show notes, I'll definitely link out to the Kickstarter campaign. And I know that you just redid your website not too long ago. And so I can link to that too. What are some other ways that folks can get a hold of your book if they want to get
Yes.
it? Yeah.
Yeah, the Kickstarter, actually, I don't know if you can order the books after it's over. So
Okay.
we'll have to say, yeah, but definitely on my website is the best place if you want to have a signed copy of my book. I do love to write messages in the books. I like to write special messages, and some people even text me a picture, and then I can look at the kid and then kind of think of a message. So I like to write very special messages in the book. So if you want a special message and a signed copy, definitely recommend the website. But also like Amazon, Target, Barnes and Noble online. Honestly, it's everywhere. Because I think I even have it in Amazon UK, Amazon
Mm-hmm.
Japan, Amazon everywhere. So like it's everywhere. Where books can be ordered online and book shops online, anything. And I think it's I do have it in physical stores in Chicago. Of course, next year I'll be working to getting it more in physical stores across the nation. But it's a slow process. But then the other thing that people can do to support this mission, honestly, which I always forget to mention, is the libraries. my book is already library cataloged. So it's just a matter of you requesting for the book to be part of your library. And that's it. And the libraries will order them, and then every library across the nation can have this book because it's already in the system. So that's another thing I always forget to mention, but the key important thing that I think I should mention.
No, that's good. That's a good call out. I'll be sure to include that too.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm writing a note to myself to remember to do that at my library here because
Yes, because Sarah, yeah, like kids are all we're all over the world. So yes, yes, that's definitely a good one to do. So
Okay. And if people want to get a hold of you one-on-one, just because they have questions, or want to collaborate with you in some way, what is the best way to get a hold of you?
I don't have a system yet. Like I always see like how there's an option on your email signature, right? To like do like a calendar thing or something.
Uh,
I'm not there because I have a full-time job. So it's like one-on-ones would be like after, my 9 to 5. And so I don't have a schedule yet. But I'm right now, I have a small social media presence, so I can see all of my messages, my DMs and everything like that. So people can DM me or send me an email. I have an email on my website. Now I have an email up there. So you can actually connect with me through my website as well. And then just let me know what you want to talk about. I'm always all about helping, honestly. I love to help because I love to build communities. I love to build others. And so I'm always just blogging. I know people like saying, oh, I'll give you 3 minutes, 15 minutes consultation, and then I'll charge. I don't have charges of some sort, maybe just yet. But it's like I just want to help. I want to, get more people to be able to publish. Kickstarter, I have a lot to share about Kickstarter right now. So how I survived. I'm ready to blog and help others who are going through it to be able to get some
yeah.
help. So I'm happy to share, honestly, back home, even I'm connecting with others because I have a lot of things that I'm planning on short term, how I can help support others. I'm always, of course, thinking about my country because I just know there's a need there in so many ways. And I want the young people, they are just ready there for their voices to be heard. And they're so brilliant, they're so educated, but there's no jobs, like the infrastructure. So I'm constantly thinking about ideas on how I can help, I can support. So with any tool that I learn, I'm thinking about ways, how can I help integrate this for people at home to be able to help? And so I have some ideas. You'll see some things that are coming up because I think I might do a couple of things, to like support others from home, through this initiative. So more to come. And yeah, just building community one person at a time, right? And hopefully
Yes,
the same
exactly.
and the domino effect just kind of happens. And then here we are. We find ourselves in a better world, better place, and everything is great.
Oh,
Mhm.
I love it. Such an inspiration. So, in the show notes, guys, all the listeners out there, I'll be sure to link all of Nonku's social handles that she's on, her website, email, if you want to get a hold of her. But she is working on amazing things, like truly a kind, good reason, and just really positive change in the world. And I appreciate so much. You inspire me. And it's like on days where I'm struggling as a mom or with life or work or whatever, I feel like all I have to do is like pop on social media and I just see like your light bursting out like through your smile and I'm just like it's such like an instant lift and you have such a positive impact on everyone, like no matter how briefly they might come across you too. And that's how we should treat each other. That's how we make great change, you know?
Yeah, thanks,
Mm.
Sarah.
I'm I'm so grateful that you were open to being on our show. I mean, Tara and I started this show just to talk stories and try and, tie it back to something good, just some underlying thread that really anyone can relate to. And I think, like in your case, like there's so many people in this country that don't know what it's like to grow up in a third world country where you have a completely different set of challenges and like sometimes you don't even know if you're going to be able to eat something day to day and then you come over here and it's just like it's another like shock and trying to reacclimate and I just think it's such an important thing for people to know and yeah.
Yeah. And I'll say one thing, as you were talking, I was thinking about my father.
Mm.
One thing, he's such an inspiration, and like his life, we're all, we're all in this moment, whatever, like there's no coincidence in our lives, and the timing of our lives is always right. And I believe in that a lot. And I had a hard time when he passed away, really hard time. But then I was like, my son is here. It was just like the timing of everything was amazing, like how he also helped me heal. But like what I was wanted to say about him was he came from humble beginnings, like very, very humble beginnings. And he was the only one. We talked about this with my sisters as I was crying on the 12th. I was sobbing. It was very good. Like it was a very weird one this time around too, because with the Kickstarter, I was just tired, right? So I was extremely emotional with everything. And so it just hit me hard. It hit me really hard. So we were just talking, and my sister was saying something about like how my dad was walk. Like how we have this concept now of being walk. Like being rural, being African. We have all these ideas in back home, like how an African man should be, right? They're the head of the family. They don't cook. Oh, like there's just all these different perceptions how African men's, right? Like, but my dad was very different. Like he was not a typical African man. He woke up early morning and he will like make before we go to school. Like at 5 a.m., he's like making thin porridge for us for breakfast. And then by the time we're like done washing up, he has like, this thin porridge we're eating with bread, and like we're sitting down for breakfast and then we're running out to catch the bus, and he led very differently, right? Of course, somebody amplified him. Like, there was this two couples, the Salis, they were missionaries. They came, I don't know when, we don't really know. We just know as we just have a picture of them. They believed in him, like they just took him on. He was a gardener in their yard. And then he was just working hard and just like trying to pay for school, whatever, like a young man, right? And they took him on. They gave him a chance, and they helped him get his first bank account. They helped him go to technical school. He was a welder by profession, so he had a small business. They helped him get to technical school and do welding, and he did welding for a while, and that was his business. And he had an accident when he was young, and so he was crippled, and his leg was like uneven, and so he will walk a little funny, but guys, he will walk miles. Like I remember, like sometimes, like some days, from school, like where his small shop, like there was this place in Manzini in the town where we went to school, in boarding school. There was this place that supported small businesses, right? So small businesses will have workshops, and they will set up, everybody will have like a small piece of space, and then he will do his welding on the small piece of space, and somebody was like doing knitting or something, just different spaces for different people like to come in and just have something. So he had that, and that's how he survived. And he will walk up the hill, like to my school sometimes, like let's say it's the end of the month, couldn't pay for school fees, and the teachers are like, of course everybody's like saying, you're not gonna come back to school if you're not able to pay. And I remember, like, he was accountable, he was responsible, even if he didn't have the money, he will walk up. And I think that's why even the head of the schools like respected him, because he will walk up and keep his word. He will walk up miles, like there was this big hill, and he will make to school like just in time before it closes, just to come and say, I don't have it, I don't have anything. Maybe this is the $20, $20 that I have. Can you keep them, in school for a little bit, and and we will walk down, of course, sometimes, go, it was just like that life. But the biggest part of everything, guys, is that we were happy. He made sure that in spite of everything, like, right, we have education. We focus and know that education is the key to help us out of poverty and everything. We were happy. He wanted to make sure that we were okay. We had food, even if we didn't have anything. We're happy, and that's why I think somehow when I think about walking miles to fetch water every day after school, I will not think about it as like, oh my God, I'm like walking those 2-3 miles every day to get warmed up. I would think of it as like, it's exercise, it's fun, it's a way to like pick up some wild fruits, guavas, anything that we eat along the way, right? Like to like, it's, like you find a way to like make it positive. It is positive. It's our way of life. And that's our story. Of course I had trauma, we had different things that we're going through, but like he made sure that we have a ticket out. And I am here today. I mean, I'm in Chicago, I'm in America, and I have running water. I have plumbing system. Like, like my life is very different. And, because of my parents, they believe in this so much and they're all, literally, they're all. This is it. This is all that they could have, that wisdom, that legacy. That's all they could give us. And that was enough for us. So he inspired me a lot to be where I am today and to make a change. And my daughter is coming right now as I'm talking.
Yay!
um, I say this to say,
Hi. So cute.
I say this to from a stand of inspiration, of power, of whatever we want to call it, right? Is we all have different experiences. We go through different things. Sometimes we don't understand why, right? And the mindset, I dreamed. My goodness, I dreamed. As I walked through like those miles for bus or whatever, right? Like sometimes like if you miss the bus to go home, excuse me, and you're like stuck, and you have to like come home really, really late, and you're like crossing, like, I'll close my eyes and just dream. Like you would just dream. And I just had that mindset. Now we talk about law of attraction, right? As something. Law of attraction works even though you don't know anything about it. I didn't know anything about it, but we just dreamt because we believed, somehow I dreamt of being in Canada. I wanted to travel abroad. I don't know how. I don't know. Wow. Honestly, I didn't have the plan of how everything would go. But I just believed and I just worked. I just worked hard and I just focused on books as my father would tell us. And I believed. And here I am, years later, I am inspiring children. I am giving children in the same village books. It's like, I don't
It's
know.
like full circle and
Full
you're
circle.
carrying on your dad's legacy. It's just like all the
Mhm.
chills. Oh, it makes me feel so good.
We go through things. Sometimes we don't understand it. We don't understand what it means for us, but honestly, it's for a purpose. I think it pushes us to a certain purpose, each and every day. And so, motherhood, everything that we go through, like we experience, it's all for a reason. It's all for a purpose to inspire others, to make a change. You guys are going to be inspiring thousands of people through your stories, your story darlings, like everything will be, it's all for a purpose and we're all living our purpose one way or the other. Our experiences are very different, but we all we're working towards making this place a better place, this world a better place. And I think that's what's important. That's why for me, I celebrate my voice. It's like a big, important book for me because it doesn't matter who you are, what you have, where you come from. It doesn't matter. Like you have a voice. You have a voice, and that's it. And we all have those voices to inspire others. Our stories are going to be inspiring us. So, guys, I'm going to go on and on and on. And so, like, I cannot stop when I start talking about these things. And so, yeah, I think, yeah, you should probably cut me off and just say, all right, like have a cue or something. Like, how sometimes you get those cues, like 5 minutes, 6 minutes, and then they like start blinking.
I love it. Well, yeah, I am definitely gonna hop on Kickstarter after this and support you and spread the word and do what I can to help, spread your message. What you're doing is so important and so good, and just keep doing it. I know it's hard. You said you're gonna try and take a break this coming year. I know how crazy it must be, like promoting this book, taking care of your family, working in the healthcare system and dealing with everything else. Your husband's a good support system, I'm sure. Yes, yes, yeah.
I am every day I tell him I'm so grateful. I am so, so grateful because I just don't know. Like some days, like literally I go to bed at like 3 a.m. And so of course I have to go up at 7 a.m., like 4 a.m. I've got to, and I'm like, so I don't want to wake up, right? Like, and then, like, of course, want milk and everything. I mean, it's just been, it's just the support system and, just my family, even the author support. Like I cried one time, like I would like have different authors sending me messages throughout this process. Like, I was just thinking of you, Nonku, keep pushing. Like, I don't know, it was just like, amazing, like how there's been so many people who were just like, I mean, I have 40 people who supported my Kickstarter. More than 80% of them have never been on Kickstarter. Like, this is their first time ever backing a project. I mean, like, grateful. I'm just so grateful for all the support, the same for everything. I mean, it's just amazing. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful.
Nonku Adumetey. Everyone. I love it.
Oh,
Yeah. So, like I said, we're going to publish the show notes after this episode. We'll have all the great ways to get a hold of Nonku on there, how to just follow her story and just see her message spread everywhere, and then how to get your hands on that book. So I'll be sure to share all of that. Nonku, I am so grateful that you took time out of, your life and your day to day to be with Tara and I. Like I feel like giving your time is like one of the most just that's one of the kindness things I think that we can do as human beings with each others, to give people that. And I appreciate your time and joining us here and telling your stories. And I was not expecting to cry today, but you made me like just I'm like leaking tears the whole time. But it's such a beautiful story. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Feel
Tara.
so honored. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought, Tara, I thought you were gonna say something. I was like, thank you for having me, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful. Any opportunity to share my story, and I'm hoping whoever is listening, whoever is hearing this is inspired. And also they also have the courage to share their story too, because we all have stories, and all have a story to share. We have a voice to share. And I hope it inspires whoever is listening to have the courage to share their stories, to believe in their stories, to believe in themselves, because as Tara mentioned earlier on so eloquently, there's only one you, and your story is yours and nobody else's. And so the world needs to know it. The world needs to hear it. So yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, thank you for joining us on this episode of Story Darlings podcast. Today we celebrate Nonku and the kindness that she is spreading in the world as we, celebrate International Author Day. So thank you so much for being our first guest as we do this podcast and have this show that we're so excited about and sharing these types of stories. So thank you.
Thanks, guys.